Hey boss, this is Jeff. Just wanted to say thanks for trusting me as your race engineer. I won't let you down. The car is ready to go, but it's brand new of course, so there may be a few issues here and there. We'll be keeping a close eye on all the data.
Yo, what is up guys, Fake TB here. Today this is the first round of Andretti MyTeam Career Mode. Doing the, I have to do at least a lap of first practice here. So gotta go out on my lap for race strategy. And yeah, just get used to how the car feels around here. It is on heavier fuel because race strategy, 5 laps of yeah, I'm just gonna walk you through the first and last lap I do in this practice program. Yeah, very excited to get this career mode underway and going for Andretti, driving as Colton Herta, obviously. Heading into the last 2 corners here, want to get a good run off the last corner because this car excels at straight line speed, tuned it for that. It should be good at overtaking and defending, which is what we need, not making this chassis as light as possible. Aero is kind of a focus. I mean, all parts of the car are obviously really important. Getting a 10th there on target time, taking it nice and easy through the first 2 corners because I haven't driven this car yet. I don't know how it feels at all. But so far up in the target time here, on the curve, barely on the edge of grip though, look like heading down through the head and taking a wider line, trying to get a good exit. Of course, it was one of my worst corners that I had, and it lost about 8 hundredths on the target time there. But this is one of my best here, getting the car rotated on that curve, gaining about a 1/10 and a half there, but like heading down. Fast right hander, AI is very good at that corner, and apparently so is the target time. But one part of the target time is not going to be very fast, is through the chicane. This is where the player has a lot of speed over the AI, getting another 1/10 and a half on the target time there, almost 2 tenths. Heading through the final 2 corners once again to start our second lap, but we won't be showing that second lap, it will be the 3rd lap. We are showing for the start here. See, crossing on the line, what time is it going to be? It's going to be a 17.9 it looks like. Heading down back. Lap 3 here, going into turn 1, taking a much more aggressive braking here. Getting that car turned in nicely, in over the 3 curves up these 3 apexes there, gaining 10th and a half on the target time. I was a lot more cautious through there, it felt like I still gained a lot of time. Try to take a tighter line through here, wide on the exit, still didn't get that quite right. It's an awkward corner to get right because it tightens up a lot more than you expect. Heading through the fast right-hander, gaining 3 tenths on my lap so far, on target time at least. This is a tricky corner for us as we get ping out, make sure to on do not disturb mode after that. Yeah, heading through 3 tenths, this should make it about 5 tenths if we gain 2 tenths, and it looked like it did, yeah, that is 5 tenths up on our time. Still got the final 2 corners to go still, which is very good corners for the player now. Looks like 6 tenths, could be 7 tenths drop the line. It is looking like 7 tenths improvement on the target time, which is very, very good. Might does add about yes it does, and we get optimal pace. Very, 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 very good there. And as we can see here, 400 points in total for us, taking our total to 1600 resource points. Gearbox upgrades, percentage discounts. We get 17% off that part of the gearbox, very helpful for us. Team acclaim also skyrockets in our first practice session here. Guess people just knowing that our car runs boosts our acclaim from level 1 to level 2. As we transition here into, this is after all the practice sessions here, we're looking through the resource, what's it called, R&D, the R&D screen. And we see that it's Monaco, so I thought rear downforce, because Monaco is a very rear tyre heavy track, you always gain a lot of temps on rear tyres. And one way we could also help that is to get some weight distribution. Make sure that the, because we're going to be throwing the car into a lot of corners in Monaco, so we've got to make sure that the weight isn't just all over the place. So that's where we need it to be. And just gearbox reliability. You can never sleep on reliability. You have to get it. Well, you don't have to, but you know, It's very helpful. Less engine penalties in the course of the season, and as we can see, it's wet for qualifying. Qualifying wet, as we see, that might give us an advantage or disadvantage. They have to see Colton Herta putting on his helmet, getting ready for the session ahead of him. First qualifying session in F1, and it's going to be a wet qualifying session. As we see going through the last 2 corners to start. Our first, well not our first, this is our fastest time that we've done in Q1 here, P10, but here is the actual fastest lap. So heading down into turn 1, very tricky chicane here. Head on the brakes into turn 1, got nice and tucked in. Not the greatest fit, we are right on our time, but just barely right on our time. Getting down here very fast in here, very aggressive, and it doesn't pay off for us. We're 10 down. You may be wondering how is this our fastest lap, and to be honest, I don't know how we gained the time. It might be through the hairpin here. No, we lost more time again with 2 tenths down here. Although there is that tricky corner, very difficult on the rear tyres. Just coming up here, go neutral through there, a fast left-hander. Through here, getting a nice run that was very grippy there. As you can see, that is where we gain most of our time. We're in a 10th of a second through that. And through the final chicane, getting very aggressive on the track limits there, and just barely scrapes the time on there. We've lost most of that in the exit though, so we're only 300s down on our lap time here going into the last 2 corners. We're going to have to pull something magic out the bag here. This is where we get a nice good exit here, can nail this, getting on the curve just barely. That is what you want to see. We're barely gaining time 1,000th up there as we go P12 in our Q1 debut, making it into Q2. And the fastest person in Q1 may surprise you. I know that it surprised me. It is Sergio Perez. Got very good lapping, obviously. 5 tenths faster than Valtteri Bottas and Verstappen. Second behind him. Maybe Perez can take this pace all the way and beat Verstappen on his debut for Red Bull. That would be surprising. But yeah, as you can see, where is Callum Ilott? He's down his P20. A second slower than us, or more actually, 1.2 seconds slower than us. So being the only Andretti car into Q2 here. Starting our lap, getting a nice clean exit through there, not too much wheel spin. Engine is a bit cold, but tyres are perfectly fine. Yeah, we might get that dirty air from the AlphaTauri ahead of us, it looks like. But still heading through turn 1 chicane complex. Again, not much to comment on here. Just a bit slidey through there. Do not want to slide there, you could go into the wall if you're not careful enough. Getting through lockups twice there through that section, but was a good looking section. The car got turned in. Same for the hairpin. The exit that confuses me, but short shifted there. So I've got a bit more grip than I usually would have. Getting through here, bouncing back out, getting the rotation in nicely. Through braking up the 15-meter board into the corner, then braking a bit more, just to get the car nice and turned in for that tighter right-hander. Really pushing the exit, but managed to hold it through there. That's where we need to get the most time. We've kind of pushed it a bit too much out to the lockup there to just make sure the car slow down on through there. I'm a limit, like I'm a white line now. As we head down into the second to last corner, braking quite heavily. Clipping that inside apex, clipping the inside apex here as well, not as much as we should have, but still a pretty decent exit off that corner. Good go. But the fastest lap here is P3, so not the fastest lap here currently. Although travesty does strike us.
There are certain moments where silence falls on a racing track, and you know what that means.
We do know what that means, and unfortunately, we are knocked out in Q2. We did set a lap though, so we will be ahead of a couple of people. Because we did set a lap, so we might be ahead of a couple of people. As we can see, podium pass got out of the way. We want to see the results. We want to see the results. And it's Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez, P1 fastest. Can you carry that form to Q2? We are ahead of both Alpines in Q2. But yeah, very, very good stuff from the Mexican Sergio Perez there.
What a great day out there today. Let's talk about what happened. The weather hasn't been ideal in qualifying. What's your take on it?
Doesn't really matter what the weather is, we still have to perform.
It looks like you've really been focusing on research and development this season.
We've invested a lot in the aero department recently, actually, so yeah.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. 3.1 miles of track here at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One circuits as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope no one forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight of the circuit and its only DRS zone. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Lando Norris, and Ricciardo, Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc, and Yuki Tsunoda, Vettel, Stroll, the Scientist, and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and George Russell, Latifi, Ireland, Mick Schumacher, and Nikita Mazepin. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So as you can see, starting on the medium tires here, P13, I believe. I honestly forgot. We're going to try the medium to soft because we've got nothing really to lose. If we do the same strategy as everyone else, the Alpines, Aston Martins, AlphaTauris, they're all just going to jump us and we're not going to get points. So we need to try something different here. The strategy says we can't make it, but I've done it in a league race before and it has worked out. The only problem is that the Andretti car could be a bit worse on tires, but that is 5 red lights. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and it's lights and away we go. Very good start compared to that Stroll there, but the second phase we just didn't get to it in time. And that means that Stroll overtakes us. Alonso's having a look around the outside of going into turn 1. Sebastian Vettel spins on the curb, it looked like. A replay of that if we can. Look like the car, maybe Ocon got involved. He's slowing it right down. Ocon did get involved. He tapped him on the rear, gone for an aggressive dive bomb. And he lost all his wing in that crash, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. And maybe some side-pod damage to Vettel there, but we continue on with our race here. Stroll, Leclerc, Gasly, all in this train, and we're right in the back of it. So Andretti, already on the big names here of Aston Martin and Ferrari. Although that pace probably won't last that much longer. Stroll on the soft tires, Leclerc in the 4th fastest car on the grid, Gasly 5th fastest car on the grid, and we're just behind Alpine here. Pretty sure that's the 3rd slowest car on the grid. I believe no 4th slowest car on the grid. So yeah, if we flash forward, lap 2, Stroll gained 2 seconds of us, and Alonso right behind us. We flash forward again. Just see that gap between Alonso shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. With the DRS activated this lap, we could see an overtake from the Spaniard, and it looks like we will. Going on to the an overtake attempt at least, going on to the DRS straight, gains 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 1 tenth We try to defend the inside, but there's no point. He just demolishes us on a straight line. And on the softer tire compounds, in the faster car, with that straight line speed, the Alpine, with the standard setup with our high aeros that we're using for qualifying, there's no way that we can keep up with him. Although we might get one bit of a DRS here on lap 4 if we really drain the battery here. And it looks like we do get that DRS just barely. It'll only be good for one lap, but look how much he pulled away, and we're probably not going to gain that much with DRS. Enabling the overtake a tiny bit there, getting the DRS lap open, and we're barely gaining on him with the slipstream also. We gained about 2 tenths, I would say, which is not very good for DRS standards. So yeah, there's not really much we can do there. So we go ahead to lap 12 there. Verstappen. Ooh, big snap of those there. I was gonna say Verstappen's behind us, but no, that is not the biggest threat. The biggest threat to our race was ourselves. Verstappen did pit for fresher tires, by the way. He's doing a 2-stop strategy, I believe, or 3-stop strategy maybe. Probably just a 2-stop one. Yeah, no damage from that collision with the wall. We might have rear wing damage. We're very lucky we didn't hit it with our front there. That would have been devastating. SAINZ going up the inside, we make sure that he can't do that bit of contact with Magnus very aggressively. We're kind of dazed by our collision with the wall there. It was a big impact. I'm surprised we don't have any damage in real life. It would definitely be a retirement and a safety car or a virtual safety car. Rear tire directly on the book there is not very good, but on this Codemasters F1 game, the rear tires are indestructible. But no, a Ferrari with the Ferrari engine. It's similar to our engine, Renault engine, but we've got DRS, we've got ERS to use. SAINZ on the hardest compounded tyres, or that ours are 13 laps old, and we are deciding, do we fight this, do we let this go? The answer is fight this. We go around the outside there, barely any room to go for. Squeeze back, he bounces off the curb, I bounce off the curb, and we ultimately squeeze him out and get the position. Obviously, SAINZ doesn't want to risk anything. He has a much better car and a much better chance of finishing high up than us. So we still gotta make a pit stop, and even after we make the pit stop, he's gonna be pulling on us. As you can see, will SAINZ let this go? We know that we get a poor exit up this corner. There isn't much I can do about it. SAINZ looks like he pulls to the outside, he's using his ERS. He goes down the inside there, we cut him off. Honestly, I thought he would back out way earlier than that, so we did kind of not leave him that much room. That one could be on me then. Very slidey through there. You did not want to hit those yellow sausage curbs, and that brings SAINZ back into range. And we just let him go. There's nothing we could have done there. If we tried to fight that, then our front wing would probably be on the track currently, instead of on our car, so just waiting for the DRS. We're so far, well, we're so close to him, should I say. And with the DRS, it should be easy pickings for that Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari's biggest weakness is straight line speed, so with the DRS, with the slipstream, with the ERS, it should not be a problem at all to overtake him. We do what Alonso did to us. We can get around the outside way before the corner starts. Those SAINZ tried to fight that, ultimately couldn't. Will he send it up the inside here though? He's looking. Oh, he did look like he was looking at move, but it doesn't seem to have appeared for him. So anyway, heading on to heading now through the happen now. Still pestering SAINZ. Just ahead of him, he's got to send it out. Almost tries it. He might have got a bit like a tiny kind of front wing in there, but he sent it back out, and I've lost a lot of time here. We get that perfectly through there, and it's still lost us about 3 times compared to the Ferrari in front of us.
6.3 seconds.
Through there a bit wide on the second half, we decided to let him through, and he hits us. Don't know what that was about. Maybe he was being a bit aggravated by us holding him up so much, but then we start to think. Yeah, we start to think maybe constantly overtaking and or getting overtaken and then re-overtaking SAINZ down the street is not the best idea for our race here. Of course, we want to keep the pace, and DRS is all good and all, but when we're fighting SAINZ constantly, it might not be the best idea, and we decided to just let him go and race his own race. You don't want to race him too hard here.
Callum is coming in for his stop.
So can we try and gain, because if we can just keep in DRS with him, have that innate pace to keep up with him and get that DRS, then that would be huge for us. But it doesn't look like we will. He's already pulled away about 7 tenths on us, 8 tenths on us now, where we do gain back a bit of time here. I believe, no, it's about the same. We didn't have a very good corner there, actually lost time there, if anything. Let me just try to get it nice and planned in there. It's no point, just pulls away and pulls away. This is definitely again a place that we're getting time here. We gain a bit of time to get a good exit. We don't reuse the arrows, but we let the back out of it. Reason unknown why I back out like we could have potentially gotten that. It was probably better for us in our race to use our ERS there to get the DRS of SAINZ than use it to defend, because we're gonna have to use more to defend at the end of the race. Anyway, as we move on to that 17, Gasly right behind us here. Looking like he's going for an attack here. Gasly, I didn't expect Gasly to have so much pace. And us holding the gas stick can just bring Ricciardo into this as well. As Gasly just tried to get us over and done with. He does not want to fight with Ricciardo, and it looks like we're going to have it with Ricciardo because we try and go around the outside here, but holding him up here. Ricciardo's just there now. We've influenced the race of Gasly and Ricciardo heavily here. You could tell the tires were dying because that happened. Under braking, I lost the rear end, which hadn't happened to me at like that corner in the entire race, don't think. Anyway, moving on to lap 18, Ricciardo got past us. I accidentally cut the hell out. But it was just a simple DRS patch, didn't miss anything. Now I go into the pits here. You could tell that my tires were dying, going on to a fresh set of soft tires here. Those run about 60%-ish. That's what the orange box in the bottom right of the MFD means. Let's see, can we get a 2.6 second pit stop here? Or 2.5, I was close but not quite. Yeah, 2.5 second pit stop here, gonna come out behind Stroll, behind Russell and behind Giovinazzi. But importantly, we are ahead of Mick Schumacher, obviously because it's 33 seconds behind Giovinazzi. But Giovinazzi, I reckon we could just easily push to get possibly next lap, this lap if we're really quick about it, but that's like our D pace still. Again, first race as a team, we do not have that pace yet, and like, even though I did do that spin, that just shows that I cannot push to the limits of this car yet. I don't know the limits of this car yet. It's completely new to me. I've never driven this car before. Even though I've got hours of league race experience on this game, days of league race experience probably on this game, the MyTeam Career is just a different beast. Characteristics, and of course every single time you start up a new one, answer the questions differently, decide to go different routes with the R&D. The car behaves differently. So we see over through the chicane here, we're going to get the DRS and get Giovinazzi not confused with the G. And yeah, 3 tenths behind it. And should be 3 tenths ahead, going into turn 1. 2 times behind into the 1 tenth here, we just don't want to hit in the back and ruin our entire race. ERS activated, DRS activated. Around the outside here, got to turn to the inside for this next kink here. I'm not sure whether that actually counts as turn 1. But just had it rotate, get the race in line. Heading into turn 1, move done. We can focus on Russell and the Stroll ahead. And we fast forward on to lap 21 here.
Stroll, they have an issue with their car, they're going to be slow.
Stroll issue with that car, they're going slowly. However, Russell as well. As you can see, Verstappen pitted again. You could just see in the top left, it's disappeared now because he overtook Stroll. But as soon as Verstappen overtakes Stroll as well, we'll be able to see him on the
We're seeing a gap form.
We're see him on the thing. Let's concede into lap 24 here. Already overtook Russell. It wasn't an interesting move to save time, decided not to show that move. Alonso going slowly, just like Stroll did. Really bizarre. I don't know what's happening to the AI. He held a Vettel as well. And as you can see, we haven't gained on Vettel at all in 4 laps, but look behind us. Max Verstappen here. Didn't think he'd join him so soon, but he has joined into the fight. Medium tyres, RB, he needs to gain 5 tenths per lap. He's gaining more like a second per lap. Actually, if we do any mess ups here, lose the rear end, spin, and that's us out of the points here. But P9 on debut, we fought very, very hard for this P9. And I don't think the fights are over if we want to keep it. 40% tyres compared to those mediums will be so much quicker than us. The RB is going to be so much quicker than us. And Verstappen is probably a better driver than us. So, yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult to keep him behind in the Andretti car. Obviously, that 29 doesn't gain enough speed on the straight to get, like, send the move down turn 1 or around the outside turn 1, doesn't get that DRS, which is crucial. But look how much time he gained almost 4 tenths in the first chicane alone. In the second chicane, he knows how much damage he's going to get. See, I'm pushing the car as much as possible. You can see me getting worried here. I do not want Verstappen directly on my tail. Verstappen directly on my tail, I shall receive. Heading now into the complex, middle complex mechanical grip area, which AI excelling players not so much, just me I guess, as players here. It goes around the outside of the chicane. It's going to be a very risky move here. Hold him off just barely. Again, not much room to give out that chicane, so let's decide. There's barely any room I can give him, so I may as well give him none room. Let's see. DRS activate for Verstappen, I think. I thought he was going to go around the outside there for a moment until I realised that he was not gaining nowhere near enough speed on us, because we, remember, invested heavily in straight line speed. And although this is a high downforce setup for us, the AI will be a lot faster than us in a straight line. He gives us that edge in those fast downforce required corners like this one, but instead of sensor down the inside, given barely enough room to the side to back out of that, just like we did to SAINZ. But heading down, we're really trying to get on the speed here. Just pushing the car. You can hear the revs going up in these high-speed sections, and he sends it down the outside. Did not expect that. We squeeze him out again as we see the off-board camera angle of that Verstappen diving down the outside. We decide to give him room. He cuts himself a shallow angle there. Gives himself that shallow angle, and not much we could have done in terms of room there. But he barely doesn't have the DRS here. He might still have the slipstream of it, or maybe he did get DRS. Again, I'm not sure. He didn't look like he got DRS, but 8 tenths to gap now, 7 tenths to gap now, 6 tenths to gap now. He's right down straight. Maybe he's using his ERS to defend from Ricardo and accidentally gained on us, but all we know, we've got no ERS left. Block the outside line, he goes for it anyway. He squeezes him out there, and he almost spins off the curb for the rear tyre of the Andretti car of Colton Herta there. But as you can see on the replay, off-board camera angle, us giving him a very, very tight squeeze there. And hitting the rear tyre as he did, but just holds the car together. Very controlled slide from Max Verstappen there. See, that almost happened, almost identically in real life, between the cars of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, the real life Romaniac Grand Prix. Of course, Verstappen was on the different side of it, but does Verstappen go for a move here? At the inside, he's not close enough. He does try it though. He did brake a lot later than the Andretti car of Colton Herta there. Oh, very, very tentative now. This car, the tyres are almost completely shot. And Verstappen takes advantage of that. Goes around the outside of us. We just once again just give him that squeeze of Ricardo. Ricardo getting involved there. Now side by side between the two of them. Unfortunately did not capture the footage of them going side by side, but it's sure to be a fierce battle, as you can see in the rear view mirror. Fernando Alonso. Engine failure. We saw him going slow, and he did go into the pits. We think he's going to the pits to retire.
Final lap of the race.
It looks like it's safe for Verstappen for the entirety of this lap. That 2-second gap in one lap. I don't think he's going to be able to kill it. don't think Verstappen got. He probably did get DRS on his season, defending from Ricardo and gaining that position on Ricardo. He seemed to get. He's got it. Sergio Perez does carry the form from qualifying he had. He does win the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. He does get that victory. Crucial for the championship for him if he wants to be a championship contender. Same here for Max Verstappen. 1 point could be the difference between P1 and P2 in this 2021 season, as we saw in real life between, once again, Verstappen and Hamilton. Sonoda, excellent drive for the rookie here. P7 on debut in the 5th fastest car. You would expect that to be P10, not P7.
Let's get back up to racing speed.
Again, only one position behind. Acclaimed driver, Pierre Gasly in E4 machinery, and it's just ahead, well, 12 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time champion of the world. We finished just behind him. Colton Herta, on debut, gets P9.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Obviously, Jeff, not that interested. Doesn't want to hear anything from us. Just pick up rubber, leave the car home. And yeah, Red Bull win this race.
It's a performance that our Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix winners can be justifiably proud of. And I'm sure there'll be celebrations tonight. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it's down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. The points that Sergio Perez earned today see him take over the lead in the Drivers' Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Of course, P9 is amazing on debut for Colton Herta. Same with Yuki Tsunoda's P7, and we might hear about that in the press
That
interview.
was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Well, the car was very nimble and light. It just drove around the outside of some
You
people.
really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Of course, this is a team game here.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, did excellent in the Grand Prix, I'm pretty sure. Answered his questions really well as well. Bumped up our acclaim, I believe, so now we're level 2. Ilot just off level 5, and us gaining 2 levels there, I believe. To go from level 2 to level 4. With terms of money, we did crash the car in qualifying, so we only get 50k from that. Ilot getting bank from that race. Going up 2.37 mil. I want to know where did Ilot's money come out of, because it did not come out of our bank account just then. Oh, we've got an error department.
Could you take a look at this for us, please?
So this 50% discount is if we just
Handle that well.
pay 20k. That's
you.
easy decision. But yeah, time to go to the activity timeline here. We'll do some simulated training for Ilot. Maybe attend an F1 Esports event for our claim. But sponsorship, we get that money. Yeah, we get that money. That money is very important early on. And probably just power department focus. We want to make sure that our departments are running at full force. Here, let's see, Colton Herta, B9 for Andretti F1 team. Forgot to put a space between Andretti and F1, but I will do that for the next episode. Or did I? Some of it doesn't register, some of it does, that's weird. But yeah, that's the standings. Those are the constructors. I've been the fake TB. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.